Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
You are listening to the Brilliance Business Show, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler, and we have a wonderful guest today, Penelope Layzell. Penelope is the Freedom ReActivator, and our topic today is listen to your inner voice to freedom. Very, very wise words. Penelope, welcome to the Brilliance Business Show.
Thank you, Mark.
I'm really looking forward to a conversation with you today, Penelope. Before I get started, I just need to make a legal disclaimer that Penelope is not offering legal advice or legal assistance. So let's get started with the show. Penelope, can you share with our listeners a little bit about yourself and your business?
Yes, certainly, Mark. So a little bit about myself is that I've been in corporate for 30 years, suffered lots of burnout, and have ultimately resulting in extremely poor health and a life-threatening illness. And it was from there that I built Diamension, my business, because I started a path of spirituality and listening to my higher self. And when I started to weave that into work, I saw tremendous results, not only on my personal health, but on my team as well.
I'm very spiritual as well, Penelope. And in the world of entrepreneurship, sometimes we do overwork ourselves, and it's so easy to get burned out or feel really tired. So that's why it's really important we listen to our instincts and our inner guidance system. It's so important we look after our well-being with our spirituality, meditation. So I totally understand the work you're doing and how you're supporting your clients. It's important we take that time for ourselves so that we perform better at work as well. Who are your clients, Penelope?
I work with the corporate world, so between the workers that are in the 9 to 5, because I think it's so important not just to focus on the entrepreneurs, but to work on the ones that, in that 9 to 5, it's so pressurized and there is a need for it. It's not something that needs to be turned away and everybody have their own job just to get freedom. I think you can have freedom within that 9 to 5. So that's my client base.
True words. When you're in a 9 to 5 corporate job, that is very, very hard work, and it can be really demanding, really, really hard on your well-being, and it's really, really important work that you're doing, Penelope. Do you recall a specific ha-ha moment that led to the launch of your business?
Oh, completely, Mark. And it was a real aha moment. So as I mentioned, I was starting to put spirituality into what I was doing myself. But obviously in the 9 to 5, it's such a taboo subject. You don't mix the two. And last year under the pandemic, my team were facing incredible pressures. Our business has shrunk by 75%. I was getting pressure from above. My team was seeing redundancies around them. They were stressing, and we had to sell. And it was incredibly pressurized time. And I suddenly thought, I don't want to work like this. I don't want to face this anymore. I'm going to talk to my team and I'm going to tell them I want to work differently. And I literally told them to stop doing their jobs, which at a time when they're facing so much pressure, you can imagine that they thought they'd got a bit of a Fruit Loop for a boss. But you know what? Once we took our foot off that gas and we started listening internally, the work flowed and we suddenly started growing again because we served our clients instead of fighting for every bit of scraps that was coming off the table. And that for me was my aha moment, because not only did we start to succeed, but my team started to thrive as well. And their mental health started to reduce. And yes, it wasn't all plain sailing and roses. They still had to embrace a new way of working. But from there, we just became a really close-knit team and really worked together. And they would listen intuitively too. And it was like watching a flower blossom. And that was my aha moment.
That's a great aha moment, Penelope. It's been a hard year for corporate. Businesses have gone out of business. People have lost jobs. And like you say, you was getting pressure from above, which that can really affect. I know this from personal experience, Penelope. I worked in the hairdressing industry for over 20 years, having bosses that go on at you or put pressure on you. That really does affect the way you are showing up in the world. It can keep you awake at night, really stressed out, and it can cause stress, anxiety, and depression. And like you mentioned, sometimes corporate and above, they might want you to sell. But when you're coming from that place, it's not authentic. And when you're tuning into your well-being, you're in a guidance system, you're coming from the heart space. So sales will do better in the long run. But what a brave decision. And what a great thing to do for yourself and your team. I really, really respect that. What really motivates you to jump out of bed every morning?
So it is that balance. And I actually teach this in my courses, Mark. So it's an interesting question. I used to be one of those that hit the snooze. And it's not that I didn't love my job. I'm very corporate minded and very driven. But you still get to that, oh, God, do it again moment. Since tuning into that spirituality, it's that, jump out of bed because you know that whatever happens, the spiritual world has your back. And that motivates me because I think I'm doing stuff for the good and I'm helping other people. And that's what makes me get out of bed in the morning.
I'm with you on that. When you're coming from a place of service and helping others, that is a great reason to get out of bed every morning. What sets your business apart and what unique need are you filling for your clients and customers?
So I'm a soul healer, and that the healing abilities that have developed since my own personal illness, I now incorporate into my business. So I work with clients either at that transition place where they want to find another job, and I will create CVs from a place of feeling rather than a list of jobs that they've had before, or I work with them on finding that, getting those interviews again from that place of feeling, and I coach them on that. But I also work within their making them happy, on helping them to be happy within their job as it is, because not everybody wants to move around and change jobs just for the sake of it. So I work with them on trying to find that inner balance so that you can connect inwards and be able to do your job to the best abilities.
Penelope, if I was ever employed, I would want you to be my boss for sure. Why do you feel your service is especially important in today's modern world?
I think it's incredibly important because of the statistics for the mental health within the working world. 1 in 6 people suffer with some kind of mental health. And even myself, I learned to live with crippling anxiety and depression because that was the norm. And that's what I want to change. It's that I need to, I think it's so important if we can just change that mental health so that isn't such a shocking statistic. That would be amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Would you mind just sharing a few more details of the kind of services and products that you offer?
Yeah, so I offer CV writing. I also offer the interview training as well. I offer coaching within the 9 to 5. And because I'm a soul healer, I also offer healing.
amazing. And you are part of a project, Penelope, I'm part of as well. We're both in an incredible book that's just launched called The Law of Brand Attraction 2. The foreword of the book is Dr. John D. Martini, who I am a super fan of, and I've been lucky to work with Dr. John many times with media. And Sammy Blindell is the mind behind this incredible book, full of around 27 or 28 thought leaders. This book is really making waves. Penelope, just tell us a little bit about your chapter in the book.
So my chapter is about, it's my story of fear. We're all born 100% love labeled. And from there, as we start to find our feet as young children and we start to grow, that fear then comes in and it becomes, and what we end up starting to do is live in a fear-based world rather than a love labeled world. So my chapter is about my journey and where my fear first came from. And it was an abusive mother that mine came from. And that fear, and then adding the corporate element onto that. So my chapter talks about my journey from fear back to being love labeled, which is where I am now, so that I can work in that freedom space.
Fear has a lot to answer for. It can shatter dreams if we don't overcome our fears and our past traumas, which does take some inner work and working on our belief systems and the choices that we make. This book is full of wisdom. You are bound to get some value off 1, 2, 3, or all 27 of the co-authors. I would advise everyone to go out and get a copy of The Law of Brand Attraction. Go to thelawofbrandattraction.com. Penelope, I have really enjoyed having a conversation with you today. My last question, how do your clients typically hear about you, and are there certain life moments that would usually lead to them seeking you out?
The life moments that would lead to them seeking me out would be where they've hit that wall. They're in a career that they're not quite feeling aligned to. They don't quite know the way out. They might have moved several times within their career, but they're still not getting those breaks. And that's when they tend to seek me out for the help. That's where I can step in to support them from there.
Penelope, I have really enjoyed having you on the show today. How can our audience get an hold of you? What's the best way for them to connect with you?
The best way to connect with me is via my website, which is www.diamension.co.uk.
Just say that once more for our listeners.
It's www.diamension.co.uk.
Penelope, thank you so much for being on the Brilliance Business Show.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you for having me.
It's been my pleasure. You have been listening to the Brilliance Business Show, conversations with leading experts in business.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.